My student made a girl cry in my class, but it was so funny I let him get away with it. From the very first day of school, I knew this girl Haley was going to be my problem student. She was one of those stereotypical mean girls. And the second she walked in, I noticed her AirPods were already in, matcha in her hand, and ready to find her first victim. I heard things about her from other teachers, and knew she wasn't good news. She constantly interrupted my class, doing basically anything she could to get attention from guys, and would never stop looking at her phone. Every time I heard that M to the B song playing from her For You page, I had to tell her to put the phone away because it was so distracting. But every time I did, she'd always blurt out stuff like, "Yeah, you're probably my least favorite teacher," and go back on it 15 minutes later. She'd make fun of a lot of the other girls as well, telling one that she should probably stop using olive oil for their skincare routine. She'd call herself an influencer baddie, while all the other girls could never pass 1,000 followers. Every time I'd tell her to go to the office, she'd run and tell her mom I was being abusive to her in class that day. Her mom called me constantly to make sure she was getting good grades no matter what, because if her influencer dreams didn't work out, she'd need a perfect GPA to fall back on. She literally had the worst grades out of any student, and when I told her some of them actually worked to get good grades, her mom didn't like that at all. She asked me to name students so she could learn from them, and when I named one, Haley came to school with a new target, this quiet kid who sat behind her, and since he got the best grades in class, she picked him as her next victim. She started picking on him, making fun of his glasses, his grades, but he never said anything back to her. I didn't think I'd ever heard him speak a single word at this point, but since she tried to tell him he was chopped almost every day, I thought I could make them friends somehow. One of the other teachers told me she made students friends by forcing them to work together, and since we had a group project coming up, I thought pairing them was a good idea. However, only a few minutes into the project, I realized I had made a big mistake. She immediately started grilling him in front of two other guys to try and make them laugh, but this time it seemed different. I could see it was actually starting to get to the quiet kid this time, because she was doing anything she possibly could to get the other boys to laugh. But while she was doing this, I noticed the shy kid was doing all the work while the rest of them were talking. So when I went back over, I said, "Hey Haley, why aren't you doing any of the work? You should be helping." She leaned back in her chair, one AirPod in, scrolling through Snapchat. "He's actually hogging all the work. I tried, but he won't let me do anything." The quiet kid looked up at them, clearly knowing this won't true. I said, "Okay, that's fine. Then you can finish it since he already did half." She didn't even look up from her phone. "No, that's okay. He likes doing it. He's just a nerd anyway." This was what finally got a laugh out of the two guys, and I saw Haley smirk because she finally got the attention she wanted. But that's when I saw it. The quiet kid's eyes were starting to water because this finally got to him. He looked at me, and I saw how hurt he was, and that's when I decided something had to be said to this girl. Someone had to put her in her place, so I walked back over to her and said loud enough for the class to hear, "Hey, don't talk to him like that. He's doing all the work for you, and you aren't even grateful. For all you know, he could probably end up being your boss one day." She finally looked up from her phone. She looked offended and sat up ready to say something mean back to him. But just before she could, the quiet kid finally spoke for the first time all year. After I said that, without missing a beat, he says, "No thanks. I don't want to be a strip club manager when I grow up." Everyone went silent and then absolutely burst out laughing. Haley ran out of the room crying.